All right, everybody. In this episode of the podcast, we will be reviewing the movie Jumanji: The Next Level. So, what is this movie about?
Let's see. You got your none of those people. Nat King Wolf, guy from Paper Towns. You know, the lead from the last movie. He's feeling a little unfulfilled, a little down in the dumps. All of his friends are off doing fun stuff at college or whatever, and he's in a bit of a rut. So he decides, hey, remember when I was a cool guy in Jumanji? Let's do that again. And then adventure ensues from there.
So, pretty much his character turns into Woody Allen, where he's feeling insecure.
Mm-hmm.
And he decides that, I'm going to go into the game, and I'm going to be my favorite character from the last movie, The Rock, and I'm going to be awesome, and people are going to love me. But it's not real people that are going to love him. It's the characters within the game. They're called NPCs.
NPCs are non-player characters.
So he's going to do this mission. He's going to save Jumanji, and he's going to get the accolades and the admiration of the NPCs.
Sure, if NPCs are capable of such things known as love.
But it's not real. What did you think about the story?
Kind of a retread of the last movie. I wouldn't say it really takes any new or interesting turns. Instead of a green MacGuffin from the last movie, it's an orange MacGuffin in this movie. They're a few movies shy of a whole Infinity Gauntlet over here. But it's like, get this thing from new bad guy, say the word, and then beat the game. So, as far as plot is concerned, it's the exact same movie.
Wait, so are they playing the same game, or is this part two?
It's the next level. So, there's new locations because I guess Jumanji's constantly evolving or whatever. But it's the same story beats.
So it's pretty much the same story beats. So with this movie, I'm glad you brought that up. What this movie does that other sequels try to do is they pretty much retread the original when they do the sequel. So the only way to kind of fix that, like a quick fix or putting a Band-Aid on it, is introducing new characters. So you have the original characters, which are The Rock, Jack Black, Kevin Hart, Karen Gillan, which are just the avatars. Then you have the kids, and then you have, as you've seen in the trailer, new characters, which are Danny DeVito and Danny Glover from the Lethal Weapon movies, that are these old guys that don't know anything about video games, are just so out of it, and then they have to learn the whole game.
It's interesting because this is essentially just a retread of the last movie. So you'd think, just shoving in two more characters would just be like, it's just the same movie but with a couple of characters. But honestly, I think it's enough of a dynamic change that it kind of refreshes the movie for me and might even be better than the first one. Hey, you retry the recipe again, you're bound to make a second batch of cookies even better.
Oh, so there we go. So sometimes when you try something for the second time, it comes out better than the first time.
There's enough of a wrinkle in including Danny Glover and Danny DeVito, who technically aren't in the movie. They're in it, yeah, sure. But, it's avatars most of the time. So it's the same core four characters, but just kind of remixed, because instead of the jock and the nerd and then the hot chick and a different kind of nerd, it's the nerd, the jock, and then two old people.
And the nerd and the jock are trying to explain to the old people what is a video game and how do you play the game. And the old people are just completely lost. They don't even know they're in a video game. So the movie takes more than a half, where it's that same joke again, where they say something, and then the jock and the nerd, and they tell them, no, you're in a video game. And they're like, wait, is this Florida, or are we dead? No, you're in a video game.
Yeah, to say that this movie this movie is very safe and very kind of generic and we're gonna do the same thing over and over again, because there's an older not older, but an old, about my age, maybe a little older than me, sitting next to me, who's laughing at all the stupid nonsense stuff, and then there's children behind me, very little children sitting, who are also laughing at the same stupid nonsense. So clearly this is the most crowd pleasiest movie that's ever pleased a crowd ever.
Yeah, in the theater that we were watching it, everybody in the audience loved the movie. They were having such a good time with this movie, but just a couple of complaints. One was, it's I don't know. I had a problem with the first two acts where they kept recycling the same joke, where it was, you're in a video game, and the old people didn't get it. And then once you get to the third act, everything comes together, and the movie fits nicely.
Yeah, it kind of rounds itself out. We get reunited. Spoiler with Nat Wolff. Who cares?
Well, they don't even know that.
He's in the game somehow or whatever, but we gotta find him. Just like Colin Hanks in the last movie. Spoiler for that, but who cares?
Because you should have seen it by now, except
If
I
you
haven't seen it, so it was a spoiler for me.
Who cares? It's the same movie. You saw the same movie. And you saw a different character. I'm like, who's that? Oh, now he's a Jonas brother? Oh, I guess he was the Jonas brother in the last movie. Also, that Jonas brother does nothing in this movie. I don't know why he's in those movies, but okay. I guess he has a face people like. Whatever. I'll just say this. Anyone that emulates Danny DeVito in this movie instantly gets a couple of bumps in the comedy realm. Apparently, that's the only way you can successfully maintain comedy is if one guy pretends to be an old black guy and one guy pretends to be Danny DeVito. Because anytime you had someone pretending to be Danny DeVito, it was instant comedy gold.
Oh man, I'm glad.
Instant comedy gold that this movie can allow.
I'm glad you brought that up. Danny DeVito, I'm glad he's getting work. He was awesome in this. Beloved comedian, great actor in the 80s. Then he had a resurgence with Sunny in Philadelphia. And then he's in this, and he gives the movie the humor that it needs. And kind of a little bit of that dramatic, because there's aside from the action adventure of being in a video game movie, there was like a little drama. And Danny DeVito brought that in, as well as with Danny Glover and Kevin Hart. He did a pretty good portrayal of Danny DeVito, the old angry man, and The Rock. I was just confused by his performance. It seems like he was trying to do a comedic take of an old person.
Well, he's just trying to rip off Danny DeVito's voice, but it's just old Bronx accent or old New York accent or whatever Danny DeVito. It's like refining Danny DeVito's spiel into the most reductionist thing you can do, which is just this accent. I'm this.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, no, that's a spoiler, but just whenever anybody does that voice, it elevates them.
But I mean, it was off with the way that the Rock played it, because I know we used to do impressions of Danny DeVito at the height of Sunny in Philadelphia, and we kind of had that little voice there, like, what's the action, guys? And the Rock just did it pretty soft, huh?
Well, I mean, he doesn't have a ton of range. I wouldn't call him a master of impressionism.
I don't know. And then the other thing is, since this is a video game movie, my brain has trouble processing the movie.
I barely consider it a video game movie. It barely rides the line of video game movie.
Yeah, because they have this, if you've seen the commercial or the last movie, they have this, what it looks like a Sega Genesis with 16-bit graphics. Then they go inside the video game, but the video game has real-life graphics.
Well, I mean, it's just I'm pretty sure when Alan Parsons' project was in the board game in the first Jumanji, he didn't look at everything and look like a bunch of cardboard. I mean, that'd be stupid.
Well, I guess
we weren't fighting cardboard in the first Jumanji.
I guess that's why they didn't show it.
Well, no, because your ideas are stupid and it makes sense for it to be realistic. It doesn't matter.
And then
it's an adventure movie. It's a ripoff of Indiana Jones or whatever.
Then it should have been that.
But I mean, it started off as a game, so why wouldn't it? The natural evolution is it goes from board game to video game because nobody plays board games. Or did you not see the trailer for the first one?
But then the board.
When I say the first one, I mean the first new one.
But the board game.
Not the first old one.
But the board game, it has that imagination thing. So the way that you envision Jumanji and you run into other characters, it's like, oh, it's playing off my imagination. It's like a a kid
but I'm
thing.
pretty sure when kids were playing freaking Super Mario Brothers over there, I'm pretty sure they genuinely thought they were jumping on turtles and going down pipes. Those graphics haven't aged super well, but as a young kid, you see that and you're like, yeah, good enough for me. I don't know what else I don't know what freaking Skyrim's gonna look like in 30 years, but this is what I got. It's better than Pong. Hey, this one's got color. Good enough for me.
But then in a video game, the extra characters, the NPCs.
I don't get why anyone would like a Sonic the Hedgehog. I mean, it just looks like a cartoon character running. It doesn't look realistic. This is garbage.
But the NPC characters already have pre-established dialogue, and then you have the characters inside the game talking to the NPCs and then creating brand new dialogue.
Well, I mean, because sentient being, I mean, like, you know, when you're playing a video game, you hit that A button and, you know, you go through, like, you know, pre-written dialogue. It's not like you get that many options. I'm pretty sure even in old school RPGs, you didn't get a ton of options for dialogue choices. So, you know, you have normal folks who are just saying whatever they can and, you know, programmed, I mean, it's magic. The Jumanji game is magic, whatever. But, you know, programmed video game dialogue can only go so far. Like, that's why in old video games, you know, you can, like, have your save file, like, be named and then, like, in new games, they're like, only prohibited words allowed for your character's name. So back then, they weren't anticipating things, but now they can. So when eventually Jumanji 3 goes into, like, the PlayStation 1 or whatever, then maybe you have an argument to make here.
And last point here was every story that they introduced into this movie had a resolve, right?
Yeah.
And other movies, usually they'll introduce like a sub-story and then nothing comes of it. And this one, kudos to the writing.
Well, it's not a super in-depth movie. I mean, you just have the kid's problems and then the old man's problems.
Yeah,
Any more problems?
And then everything got resolved. And it's not like, hey, we introduced the old people problem, but everyone's here to see the kids stuff. So forget about the old people problems.
I'm here to see Rock and Fat Man fall down on face 'cause funny. That's me. I'm general movie-going audience. I made this movie $60 million.
So let's talk about recommendations. Our friends at Rotten Tomato gave this movie a 68% score. That's critic score. Sorry, I should have said that first. I should have led with that. And then audience score 87. What's your recommendation?
I mean, this is perfectly substantial enough, family, crowd-pleasing. I don't really have any complaints with this movie. The only complaints I can have is like, it's kind of, But I mean, it's fine. And it's like, take your family, go to, like, you know, Christmas when Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker winds up disappointing everybody. Just say, hey, let's go watch Jumanji again. Maybe we'll actually enjoy ourselves at the movie. I think it's that. It's a fun enough time at the movie theater if you're willing to turn your brain off or not to worry about nothing.
And my recommendation for this, it's up to you. You guys decide if you want to see it or not. For me, I was watching this movie and was like, I would have enjoyed this more if I rented it. But everybody that was in my audience had a really good time. They were cheering at the right parts. They were laughing at the right parts. They started getting a little emotional at the right parts. So this movie, it's up to you. You decide if you want to see it or not. And when you see it, whether you want to rent it or on TV, the choice is yours. Anything to spoil?
Kinda. I mean, it's spoilers for, you know, if you don't want to know a plot beat, but it's not shattering for someone if you knew this. So if you want to hit in the spoiler section, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, so we're going into spoilers. You've been warned. Welcome to Spoiler Talk.
Oh, initially I was like, why is Awkwafina in this? She doesn't do anything. She hasn't said anything. Like, she hasn't done anything. It's like, oh, look, there's all this lead up to Awkwafina's character. And it's just like, oh, I'm just kind of myself. And then eventually they do a thing where, like, all the characters switch around and become different characters. And then you put Danny DeVito in her. Like, oh, she really livens things up. So going back to my initial point of, like, oh, just shove Danny DeVito into any of these guys. And then it's instant comedy gold. So as soon as you got Awkwafina pretending to be Danny DeVito,
so that's what you said.
Out of me.
That's why you said that this one was a little bit better than the other one. It had that Danny DeVito touch, and
maybe I just want to see Danny DeVito in more movies.
Yeah.
Or, you know, when Twins 4 comes out, because Twin 3's in the works with Eddie Murphy and Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Twins 4 comes out, Arnold's too old. Just put The Rock and Danny DeVito in the same movie. There you go. They got the same accent down and everything.
Danny DeVito is a critic's darling, and he really livened it up. So, you know, whoever
just
was...
like for Joe Pesci and The Irishman, Danny DeVito needed to make a comeback, and Dumbo wasn't it. So 2019, the year of the old guys from the 90s coming back.
Did The Rock, as playing as Danny DeVito, did you appreciate that as well? Because I know
I mean,
you,
it was
you,
fine enough.
you
I
just
mean,
said like,
'cause-
oh my God, Aquafina's Danny DeVito.
Well, because she, I guess she's good at that voice, but I think I'd heard her do that voice like on SNL or whatever else. It's like, oh, doing this voice or whatever. It's just funny, because like she's in this and she's introduced and it's like, oh, you have a new character but not doing anything. And it wasn't until she became Danny DeVito and we're like, okay, finally. Because there's a lot of praise being thrown around Aquafina and it's like, oh, she's really funny or something. It's
Yeah, she had the walk of Danny DeVito, and she even had that voice, like Danny DeVito.
she's already got a raspy voice to begin with, so you just, it wasn't too far of a stretch for her to do Danny DeVito. How many times am I going to say Danny DeVito?
So it was great, but with The Rock, it was like, I'm The Rock, and this is my impression of Danny DeVito.
Well, I think the major issue, no, that wasn't it at all. You just said he did a weird old man voice and you got annoyed with it or whatever. But
No, he didn't
whoever, quiet, I'm talking. Whenever Nat Wolff is one of these characters, like it's vanilla bland nothing. But like, you throw in a big character like Danny DeVito into any of these characters, and like, oh, it elevates, whatever any of these avatars. Interestingly, I haven't heard anyone complaining about, Jack Black doing black voice, but whatever,
He was doing black voice?
because he plays the football player.
I missed that part.
It's not hard to miss because it's the whole movie.
The movie really came to life when Jack Black played the cheerleader.
Yeah, he eventually turns back into her, but for most of the movie, he's, the fridge.
Yeah, he's the fridge, and you kind of like,
But that's what I'm saying. Nobody's throwing
nobody
a fit
notices
at it.
it.
No, everybody notices it.
Oh, I didn't notice it.
What do you mean? He's doing black voice. Come on.
Oh,
But it's interesting that nobody's complaining.
complaining.
Or then eventually, other spoiler, but we're already here. When Karen Gillan and Jack Black switch roles, and then, she does black voice, but very briefly,
Yes.
as briefly as possible, because the Scottish on top of American on top of black voice, super hard for her. So minimize that as much as possible.
And we forgot to mention Karen Gillian was really good in this movie.
Yeah, she really she elevated herself, for Endgame, and then rounding it out for Ruby Roundhouse in this.
Yeah, she did these really cool action scenes, which is like one of the reasons I had such a good time in the third act was they take out this stereo, so it's like, hey, it's a fight song, and
Yeah,
then she does.
you didn't see the first one, but they kind of, because that was like, oh, one of her skills is dance fighting, and they just kind of glossed over it in this one, just like, oh yeah, we're playing a song, so if, sure, I guess you caught on or whatever, but like you put a beat to a song or whatever, and she'll dance fight to it, but they played more to that in the first one than this one.
Wow, now I really want to see the first one because I really liked it in
This one's better.
This one, and then hey, the horse was pretty cool in this movie.
Yeah, the TriStar logo I had issues with.
I was just really disappointed how you had, you had Kevin Hart playing Danny Glover.
Danny DeVito,
No, Danny Glover.
Danny DeGlover.
And he was a lot of fun, and then all of a sudden you take out that fun from Danny Glover and you put him into a horse that can't talk.
Yeah, I wish they leaned more into that, because there's not a ton of comedy you can mine from, oh, he's a horse now.
Yeah. Would it have been,
Unless you put Danny DeVito in that horse and that horse starts neighing with an accent.
would it have made sense if the horse talked like Mr. Ed?
Maybe. You said it yourself, it's a video game, so why not?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
I just, you put someone in a horse, you expect more from them, but you get the horse from Tangled or whatever, you can mine a bunch of comedy out of that. The horse does nothing, so it's,
Yeah.
I don't know what's the point of horse,
It
other
was
than
just
MacGuffin.
MacGuffin. And then just like the last part that I really liked about this was in the beginning of the movie, Danny DeVito and Danny Glover have a falling out. And then usually in a lot of movies, the falling out is a really stupid reason, something that like the writers just threw together at the last second. And this one, it was like a really, really good the way they presented it, that Danny Glover and Danny DeVito had a falling out because they were business partners, and then they just wanted different things. Danny DeVito loved his job, he loved his business so much, he wanted to be part of it forever. And then Danny Glover was getting older, and he realized his time was running out, and he wanted to try other things before he died. He wanted to enjoy other things. So I like that. And then the send-off they did for Danny Glover at the end of the movie was, really hit you in the heart.
Didn't hit me in the heart because it was a stupid CG horse.
But just the way they send him off, that
It seemed comedic, like, but not ironically comedic. It's just like, oh, he wants to go home now, and it's just a horse.
he wants to defend Jumanji.
I mean, if you put him in an avatar or something, okay, but it's a horse. I don't know. It seems stupid. But hey, it's a stupid movie, so I guess it gets a pass.
And we had like a fun little experience at the movie theater when we went to see Jumanji. We were watching the trailers, and then the movie pauses, and this attendant comes up, and he says, you know, we're thinking, oh, he's going to say that something's wrong, that the movie's going to be delayed. And he says, hey guys, we're doing a contest promotion.
We do this all the time.
And it was the first ever happened. And so you had Sony Pictures doing a couple of promotions around different movie theaters. In ours, if you found a golden ticket under your seat, you won a poster for Jumanji. We did not win the poster.
But they just give them away, so what was the point?
This is like the ones that they give away, you know, for little kids, because in the back it's got like a activity center.
And you filled it out, I can tell.
Yeah.
The secret word is jungle.
And the real one was actually one of those real posters that they hang in the movie theater. And some guy in our row, 15 seats away from us, won the poster.
Mm-hmm.
And before I forget, our favorite part about the movies are always at the end, after the credits, the stinger. This one had a mini stinger set up for the third film.
Yeah, just
Hey, remember what you liked in the very first movie when all the animals came to the real world? We're doing it again.
So it's kind of...
The rehash in the first movie.
So I wonder if this movie, Jumanji, if they do a Jumanji Part 3, if it's going to come out the same time as the new Jurassic Park movie, where you got
Whenever that's coming out.
a bunch of animals overtaking the world, because it seems like that's where Jumanji Part 3 is going. They're not going into the video game, but I guess maybe the video game characters are coming out to help. Wow, it's really windy. The video game characters are going to have to save our world, the real world.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, thank you for watching this video. We're the Platitude Era. Subscribe to us, like this video. I don't know. We just have fun making these videos. Bye. And then we're going to do the stinger at the end. Hey guys, thank you for staying till the very end of the video. Our favorite part about the movies, if you saw the video, was that we like what comes at the end after the credits. And after the credits, it's a special review for the Ghostbuster trailer. So we were watching the movie Jumanji, we were watching the trailers, and they showed the trailer for Ghostbusters. We were really late for this. We love Ghostbuster movies, and we love
Ghostbuster movie.
Ghostbuster movie. And this is our special review of the first trailer for Ghostbuster Afterlife.
You asked my thoughts about it like a few days before, and I'll repeat the exact same thing as I said before. And I don't think, I mean, I'm not like the first person to say this. I think other people have similar thoughts, but people are making the wrong comparison. Technically, they're saying Stranger Things. I said it was Super 8. Which technically you could say Stranger Things is a ripoff of Super 8, but they're all ripping off Spielberg. So I just saw this as, oh, what if Super 8 was about Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I thought Super 8 as well, but I guess everyone forgot about that because...
Even Judge Abrams forgot about it. Where's my Super 9?
Where's my royalties? I like the way that the movie's presented. You don't know it's a Ghostbuster movie at the beginning. It's, you know, this kid and his family's moving somewhere because they're broke. And they're in this old house, and like it's got that little like piano thing, and they're like discovering things like, oh my God, there's like a supernatural presence, or there's like an E.T. or something, Steven Spielberg, E.T. And then you discover it's like, bam, right there in the face. It's a Ghostbuster movie.
Yes, it seems to be playing more to action than comedy, but this is only the first trailer. We'll see more. I mean, Sony. Clearly the winning formula is just to shove a bunch of shit and appeal to the whole audience. So that's what you got to do for Ghostbusters. You just got to shove in a bunch of like actors into this, and hopefully they gel together for however many sequels you hope for this to make.
And I liked how they brought back everything. They totally played that nostalgia well. You know, it's like, hey, it's the trap. Hey, it's the Ecto-1.
They're Force Awakens in it. Well, apparently every franchise needs to be Force Awakens, where it's just, oh, we're gonna reboot everything. Let's just reintroduce everybody to this thing. Don't forget. Oh, didn't you already do this in 2016? No, the last movie came out in '89 or '90, whatever. No.
And
There might have been a comic where they fought the Ninja Turtles or something, but I don't know what you're talking about.
And then I like how the trailer ends. They introduce you like a few things. One of them's like, hey, the Ecto-1 has a gunner seat. That's cool.
Yeah, for a toy. Who made that? Kenner? Hasbro?
And then you have the kids that are learning how to use the equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how, as a social media society, you know, we're so quick to attack Rose from Star Wars: The Last Jedi.
Well, we weren't so quick. We had to wait until near the end of the movie when she did the dumbest thing in the world. Now we attack her.
And then we were so quick to attack.
Although the middle of the movie was pretty stupid too. Well, we gave her the first act.
And
Okay.
we were so quick to attack Game of Thrones, the final season.
I had to wait till episode 3 or 4 to attack them.
I waited till the end of the last episode where I'm like, maybe it'll get better.
The Long Night, more like the long series finale. Oof.
The Long Night was shot with the lens cap on the camera. And
A couple of holes poked in so you could see something. Oh, it's your TV that's the problem, though. But we digress.
But you know, I appreciate it that now we have advances in society where this movie's actually about kids being Ghostbusters, and nobody's complaining. Nobody's saying like, "What? I don't want to see kids being Ghostbusters. Adults are Ghostbusters."
Well, nobody really cares. I think. Well, I mean, I think you know, you watch the first one. I think that's just yeah, lightning in a bottle. You know, lightning won't strike this twice. I mean, I don't think this is gonna like be gangbusters. Like, oh my God, the Ghostbusters is back and it has kids in it. I think people are like, it's serviceable. I mean, I don't. I think fans of Ghostbusters aren't looking as this will be like, finally, this franchise has been saved. Now we're ready for the real Ghostbusters. I think this just feels like Sony, like, oh, what do we got? Oh, we got Ghostbusters. Want to try it again? We'll see. You know, this Jumanji movie seems to be doing pretty good. You know, maybe we have enough faith. The kid of the first guy's making it, so you know, maybe it won't be too bad. I have a feeling. I mean, like, it's probably coming out in the summer. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it's coming out July 10th, so the week after 4th of July.
I mean, when you have a movie that you're really having faith in, you put it like 4th of July weekend, so that they're putting it after.
Yeah,
Kind of interesting.
Does that mean that something big's coming out 4th of July?
Maybe some Marvel or something else, some Fast or something. You'll cut all this out. You'll cut all this dead air.
July 3rd, we got Minions: The Rise of Guru. I didn't know that was coming.
I don't think Universal knew that was coming. Jeez.
Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds.
I can't. Whatever. Maybe 4th of July lands in a weird day. Whatever.
Yeah, so those are the movies coming out before Ghostbusters, so it doesn't seem like there was much competition for the 4th of July. Unless Sony thinks, oh, people are going to go on vacation 4th of July and they won't be at the movie theaters. 4th of July comes out on... 4th of July is a Saturday, so you could release your movie July 3rd or...
But I feel like they do it
on the Wednesday,
yeah,
July 1st.
Because you want that extended July 4th weekend. I don't know. Seems weird. Seems weird they're putting it after 4th of July. It means not as much faith.
Yeah.
A decent amount of faith because it's in the middle of summer, but not enough for that big weekend.
Yeah, so I guess they were probably thinking, oh, people are going to go on vacation 4th of July, so it might hurt our box office.
Nope. There's a reason 4th of July weekend's a thing. I don't bring up 4th of July because, like, that's a slow weekend. Might as well bring it up. Dipshit.
It's the only person that's had luck on 4th of July. It's Will Smith.
Mm-hmm.
Independence Day, Men in Black. Not Wild West.
Well, I mean, you know, it was pretty big for me. That's the only reason I went to Burger King every day, so I could get those Wild Wild West sunglasses and watches or whatever.
All right, everybody.
I had to look like Jim West.
All right, everybody. That's
and
it.
You can be Kevin Kline.
All right, everybody. That's it. We're done. No more. It's over. Bye.